You're listening to the All Elite Podcast, your favorite AEW fan podcast for in-depth analysis and discussions about the number one growing brand in professional wrestling today, All Elite Wrestling. This podcast is broadcasted live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch on behalf of the No Holds Barred Network. The network is your source for wrestling interviews and podcast content featuring independent wrestling and AEW. Also, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So sit back, relax, and interact in the live chat. Enjoy the show.
Probably turn our mics on. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Elite Podcast with your two best friends here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host as always. I'm your self-proclaimed greatest host. My name is Kyle Masters, and today, not joined by Tiffany. Tiffany is taking a little indie hiatus. She's got a lot of indie content to cover, so she's taking a break from AEP. I have a special guest today. He is considered the best friends. Why you heard the best friends theme in the beginning of the podcast there. I'm going to let him introduce himself, actually. I'm going to give him the honors of that. So, Bill, why don't you introduce yourself?
Kyle, thank you so much for having me on. My name is Bill Bodkin. I am the editor-in-chief of thepopbreak.com, your best place on the internet for pop culture, news, reviews, and interviews. I'm also the co-host of the Socially Distanced podcast, which drops every single Thursday on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor Podcasts. And I am All Elite. Throw up the little graphic right there. And I'm not in heaven, by the way. That's just how the light is behind me.
I mean, you could be.
I mean, maybe I am. Maybe a South Amboy, New Jersey is just a little slice of heaven.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Elite Podcast. It's usually where myself and Tiff, but today me and Bill talk about everything in the AEW world. We cover AEW Dark, Elevation, Dynamite, BT, everything on this podcast. Keep you guys up to date with what's going on in the AEW world. Focusing less on the minor stuff today because there's a lot of trending topics that me and Bill are going to bring up today. And
hey, I sent you so many of those. I'm like, bro, we got to talk about this.
Yeah.
You're just like, stop producing my podcast.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching live, thank you very much for watching live on Twitch, YouTube, Periscope. We're live on Facebook, wherever you're watching live. Thank you very much for tuning in live. If you're watching back on YouTube, thank you for watching back. And as always, to all my audio peeps out there, you guys are my favorite. Thank you for downloading the episode and listening each and every single week with us. I have people in the live chat there. I got Game of Ant, my buddy Anthony. Anthony, I have a special surprise for you in a second here. A special surprise for you guys out there, especially the audio listeners, because you guys didn't get to see or hear the Manscaped commercial last week. It was the debut of our Manscaped commercial. Me and Tiff did like a pretty long. We actually posted it on our YouTube channel as a separate video. You guys can go back and watch it if you'd like. It took a while to film that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm still working on the blooper reel. I had a lot of stuff to do this week. Once I get the blooper reel done, we'll post it somewhere. But yeah, it was so much fun to do. So again, we're sponsored by Manscaped for the month of April. I have a special commercial for you guys. Man, I just noticed I'm talking a little bit with a weird tongue because I did my regular DDP yoga today, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I kind of feel like pasta. I'm gonna have a couple cups of pasta, whatever. And I did the the shell pasta that's like cylinder. I don't know what that's called. I'm so bad because I'm not Italian. So
penne.
The Italians here are something like this fucking manja cake guy over here. I don't know. There was water inside, right? So when you try the noodle to like see if it's good and El Dante whatever, I didn't see that there was a pocket full of hot steaming water in it, and I went to put it in my mouth, burned the shit out of the tip of my tongue. So right now I'm talking like this. Talk like Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Oh, baby. Yeah. I've done that a few times.
Ant's Italian. No, I know I'm pissing him off. I'm sorry. I got
At least you're not doing your Santina impersonation.
Play it with Feelings 24 in the chat. What's going on too? Listen, baby, I'm gonna talk like Dusty Rhodes for the entire podcast, baby. No, I'm not going to, but you're gonna hear that.
Well, don't forget you're supposed to shout somebody out. I saw that on
Yes,
Twitter.
yes. So I have to do the voice too. This is for my friend Jackie. This is the special shout out for you because you want me to do the Santina Marella, the accent. Thank you, Jackie. The shout out for you.
It's the Moxley Mouse impersonation.
Oh, the Moxley Mouse. Oh,
Renee, I'm going to be at Bloodsport in an hour. Oh.
Anyway, it's a little wacky start to the show.
Moxley actually tweeted about Bloodsport. He's just like, I'm going to crack this bitch's skull open or he's going to kick the crap out of me.
Did he really?
Yeah, and then he said, and then he ends the tweet with, please join us. And I'm just like, oh, it's very polite of you at the end to say that.
Oh, so that's Jackie in the chat. Okay. Bitch's skull open. So play with my feeling 24 in YouTube chats, Jackie. Jackie, I hope you enjoyed it. That shout out, and I can't. Oh, I just missed that Mickey Mouse. All right, we're gonna move on.
I was like,
yeah, Tiff just joined the chat. Tiff, what's going on? I know you're busy or whatever, and you're just tuning in. We have a commercial about to play, our new Manscaped audio commercial.
Something else.
But yeah, Bill's joining me today. Thank you, Bill, for coming on. We got a lot of trending topics to talk about. So again, we're focusing less on the small stuff today, which is like BTE and Elevation and Dark, because they're all the same, guys. If you're not watching BTE, you got to start watching BTE. It's the funniest shit in the world.
It was the shortest BTE.
Yeah, it was. Awesome. But it's basically being the Dark Order. Like, that's what I call it every week.
Because that's the funniest stuff on it.
Right. You have to explain the commercial before you just play. Yeah, I will explain it. Anyways, so yeah, we got a lot of trending topics, and me and Bill are going to go back and forth on. Well, we'll talk about Dynamite from last night because we need to talk about Dynamite. There's a lot that went on.
Some say the worst Dynamite in history.
For some reason.
It's the death of AEW.
Yeah, this is WCW 2000 all over again. Where's Vince Russo? Listen, bro, I can book AEW, bro, way better, bro, than Tony Khan, bro. He's a mark, bro.
I was there. I watched 2000. I remember it was the worst ever.
Yeah, I've seen clips. That shit was just hot garbage. The clip I always remember is the Hulk Hogan and Vince Russo that night where he tried to do the finger poke of doom again, and Hulk Hogan basically said like F this company, I'm out of here.
I always remember the Juventud Guerrera Jushin Thunder Liger Pinata on a pole match.
Justin Thunder Liger, for people that don't know. I just call it Justin.
And then it was Ed Ferrara was Oklahoma doing a Jim Ross impersonation, and he kept screaming "Pinata" as Dr. Death was standing.
God, it's a pinata.
Yeah, it was so bad. I think Juventud cracked a bottle of tequila over Jushin Liger's head, and I'm just like, that right there crystallizes everything that was terrible about that time.
So you mentioned JR. So Anthony in the chat's seen it. Have you ever seen the guy that did the JR impersonation on YouTube like 10 years ago, where he's like sitting there screaming at the Y2J return promo, and he's just saying a bunch of random stuff? He's like, "Can you smell what the Rey Mysterio is cooking? It's Bobby Lashley. I'll be a son of a bitch."
Yeah,
that's literally one of my sound alerts on Twitch. I don't have it playing now when we do this, but it's so that video is phenomenal. Like Anthony showed me that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it because I seen it a long time ago. It's if you guys haven't seen it, just type in JR impersonation on YouTube. It comes up eventually. You'll see it. There's like a guy sitting in front of his computer. You can't see him. You see the back of his head. He's wearing a cowboy hat. He's got one of those like old school box computers going.
Yeah. Well, are you playing this commercial now?
Yeah, so I'm going to get to this commercial now before we can talk about AEW. So, to explain this commercial a little bit, buddy Anthony in the YouTube chat, Game of Ant, guys, go follow him on Twitter as well. Really good follow. He's a Twitcher like me. He's getting me into the whole twitching thing as well, so I got to thank him for everything he's done for me, and especially this commercial. So this commercial, he does his own podcast on his Twitch channel called the 5 Second Rule. 5 Second Rule is a great podcast you guys need to check out. It's a very laid back, talk a bunch of nonsense. They improv sing with an acoustic guitar, and it's hilarious. If you guys need a good laugh, I highly suggest you go watch this podcast because it's so entertaining. And I had Anthony and his pals record this commercial, and Anthony doing a special voice impersonation. You guys will catch it right off the bat because they say his name. But here we go. For you audio listeners out there, here comes the first Manscaped commercial for you guys, and for you guys watching live, you get to watch it as well. I actually I have a graphic up here. That's you guys are going to see. I have Dusty on it. So here we go, guys. The Manscaped commercial for this week.
Hi, I'm Kyle. And I'm Kyle. And we're here for Kyle. Today's special product, Manscaped.
Are you looking like a Sasquatch around your crotch? Well, don't just take it from us. Take it from WWE Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes.
Listen, Daddy, if the dream knows about anything, it is Manscaped. And I used to cruise down the boulevard with Sapphire with my balls looking like a Thanksgiving Day turkey, baby. They were so smooth and nice, and I did it by using the Lawnmower 3.0, Daddy. And the best thing about it, moisture resistant, waterproof, Daddy. I'm talking about my nuts used to look like a water slide, baby. Not anymore, because the hair is gone. It looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin's head. It is so nice, baby. Don't leave you downstairs looking dusty. Take it from the dream.
Nothing means nothing without Manscaped's, brother, yeah.
And now, a song from the Jobbers.
Don't rub me the wrong way. I've been chafing all day. I need a Manscaped. When it hurts real bad and you can smell my ass, I need a Manscaped. Don't sweat it. I need a Manscaped. Don't sweat it. I need a Manscaped. I need a Manscaped. I need a Manscaped. I need a Manscaped. Yeah. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, don't regret it.
Don't sweat it. Oh, I need a Manscaped.
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 Yeah.
Need the Manscaped.
Me and Bill are sitting here fucking dying the entire time. Anthony, thank you so much. So that'll be the audio commercial from now on for the rest of the month for you audio listeners out there, and for I guess for you, I'm gonna just play it on video now for the rest of the month. Thank you, Anthony and the boys at 5 Second Rule. That was like a butt rock rendition of a Manscaped commercial, and we had Dusty Rhodes in the beginning. So
That reminds me of the Patton Oswalt thing where he said, I would just, butt rock like my everyday life. He's like, going to the post office, getting some stamps. Yeah.
I gotta have the yeah.
It's that James Hetfield.
Yeah. So Anthony, like on his Twitch stream, the one time he literally was taking song requests from his chat and turning them into butt rock. So like he did Genie the Bottle. Like, I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. Oh man, it's great. So guys, go check out the 5 Second Rule. It's on Anthony's Twitch channel, Game of Ant on Twitch. Go to his video on the man section. You'll see it there. I'll say 5 Second Rule. You'll have a good laugh. It's fantastic. It's also available on audio too. If you want to follow him on Twitter, he tweets about it. You guys can easy access to that. But thank you, Anthony, again for that commercial. So now that we got that all the way, let's talk some AEW. So we're gonna before we talk about Dynamite, we're talking about some trending topics that's been happening in AEW. So lots of stuff has happened actually in the past week. I guess since last Dynamite to today, so much. So much. Some people are going like, "Whoa, what is happening?" Like, okay, you gotta open your eyes and take a look because shit's happening all the time. So one. Big news here on AEW's second show. So today, Tony Khan was on Busted Open Radio. It
was actually yesterday.
Was on Busted Open Radio. He says that another hour of content is coming to TNT in the coming months, which means anywhere, I guess you can say the generic 1 to 3.
I would say a generic 1 to 3 for sure. I'm going to say after Double or Nothing. That's what I would think. Like the announcement, I could see them being like either the go home or at Double or Nothing being like starting June, blardy blar, which is a Thursday, by the way.
Blardy bar, yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, and then you go from there. I'm just wondering when it's going to be.
See, I was thinking maybe they were going to debut at on the same day that AEW Dynamite first debuted, or in that same week. Like wait until after All Out.
Nah,
Because then by then we might be okay to travel by then.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like where Daly's places become a little monotonous. So I mean, and they have all the shows. I like the fact that Elevation, I know I'm going to jump ahead for a second, was taped in the daytime, so it looked a little different. But I feel like they need to have a different venue for this, whatever this new show is going to be.
Yeah. So Elevation, again, I talk about it with Tiff a lot. I picture it being like not exactly their NXT brand, but that NXT type of show where, it's more developmental than anything else. Like NXT used to be advertised as developmental, but they're bringing in stars from around the world. Like you remember, like when Samoa Joe first debuted, Sami Zayn. Yeah. I mean, these guys were already well known.
Yeah, I was watching it when it was on Hulu, and they would just send guys like Hawkins or Trent or Cesaro and even Punk and Regal were on that.
So I picture Elevation as like it's going to be more developmental than what NXT was and what they were advertising. It's going to be purely people out of the factory, people out of QT's gym, maybe some indie talent that people not necessarily know, like me. Like I'm not a very like knowledgeable in the independent scene, but
I'm telling you, if AEW, I think they are smart. They have people watching all these shows.
Oh, this week, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I picture what Elevation going to be. So I right now it's basically Dark 2.0. It basically is. People can sit there and argue all day. It's Dark 2.0 because you're gonna have the newer, fresher talent, then you get the people that are already established in AEW just to get the names on there to people to watch. But when we start traveling again, we're out of Daly's place. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be far from it. So, and Dark's going to go back to like 1 or 2 matches, maybe max 3 a week, because it's going to be the 2 matches they film before the show and the one they film after the show.
I'm curious if that's going to be the case because, Elevation, I thought was going to, especially with Paul White being on it, you're like, okay, is this going to be like, you're going to have the higher end talent on it, like the up and comers or like someone like an Ethan Page, like, because it's interesting if you watch the opening of it, like there's people like in the opening highlight reel, it's like, I know Baron Black's on there and he's not signed as far as we know. And like a bunch of other talents. And you're like, oh, that's very interesting. It's like that he's on that,
right
on that reel. And I know with Paul White there, they're doing more of the interview every week, the feature spotlight. So I feel like it's going to be like, if you're ranking it, it'll be like, in my opinion, it'll be Dynamite, new show, Elevation, Dark.
I'm interested. I'm very intrigued to see what they do. And like, obviously, like Bert mentioned in the chat there, I think their run times are going to be different too. Right now we're rocking like 1.5 to 2 hour shows. Like this is not,
we're going to Return of the King level on some of these.
Don't get accustomed to that. That's not going to be a norm when we go back to normal, which is, it looks like in your country it's getting it's getting there. Up here we have.
They just announced some Midwest shows are going to have, like, looks like they've been, that were going to happen soon or have been rescheduled to like end of August of this year.
I know I've heard that Tony Khan doesn't want to start traveling till September at least. And depending on what the country looks like by then.
Yeah, I mean.
Up
as
here,
someone who has like luxury box seats to Newark still, when I was supposed to get Blood and Guts, but
yeah, my Rochester one keeps getting moved. I was supposed to see Matt Hardy and Brody Lee debut in the same show. God damn it. But anyways, yeah, like, even up here, where it's a mess up here. My province went to another. They announced it today. They had one of those like telephone dingy things where they come up on your phone, that stay-at-home order. So now we're at a stay-at-home order for 4 weeks because our cases right now are skyrocketing faster than it ever has during entire COVID, because we have the second strain up here that's going absolutely ape shit. So it's nuts.
I'm completely vaccinated. My wife and I both, and my mom. And but yeah, I mean, I know more people getting it now than ever before.
And I'm not laughing about the vaccination people. I'm laughing because I'm laughing at the fact that how are both our countries here, because I live in Canada and Bill obviously in the USA. How different our vaccination rollouts are, because I'm not scheduled to get mine probably until the end of August into September.
Well, I also have a reason for that. So I have a comorbidity.
Well,
so that
see, Tiff, my co-host, has her first shot, and I'm like I'm sitting there going, what the fuck?
Well, I got a wonky pancreas, man. So like they're just like, you can go ahead.
But we're still the 80-year-olds up here. We haven't moved. And now with the stay-at-home lockdown thing, it's just backed up everything more. Like they screwed up. My government up here screwed up. I mentioned on the podcast before. Years and years ago, they got rid of all the factories that develop vaccines. And that's why we're so behind, because now we have to outright buy our vaccines from all other countries. I think we're ranked 38th in the world for vaccination rollout. That's sad. And we're literally above you guys.
I mean, I hate to see that lower graphic that AEW would give for Canada's vaccine rollout. It's a terrible joke, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's all bad. It's all bad. Like it should be rolled out faster, but like it's going to be a big thing because around here, like, it's a little off topic about touring, but I mean, like I know in the United States, like Bonnaroo and Firefly and other big outdoor camping music festivals are like, yep, we're going through with it. And I'm just like, yikes, that's scary.
Are you
and,
sure?
And WrestleMania, I know isn't a WWE thing, and I'm not talking bad about it, but like WrestleMania is a huge litmus test for big outdoor events because this is like what 50-some thousand people over 2 days. So it's
Now,
like,
are they having more than the Super Bowl?
they're a little bit more than the Super Bowl,
Okay.
I think, but they're also over 2 days. So
That's
I think
right, yeah.
combined, it'll be more than the Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, there'll be some redundancy, obviously, but still, there's a lot of people in Tampa right now. So I'm told my uncle, please stay at home.
So, guys, get used to Daly's Place. We're probably going to see it for the entire summer. It might be.
I think they could move somewhere else outdoors. Like they were going to do Miami. I feel like they could move a little bit around, but we'll see.
I think the comfortability of being in Daly's Place is just, it's too convenient for them to move. Like it's
let me throw this out to you. TIAA Bank Stadium is right next door.
Yeah. See, that's going to be the home for their eventual supercard with New Japan. I guarantee it that they'll sell it out.
I think it's Soldier Field.
Soldier Field, you think so?
Chicago. I think it's a smart money would be to do it in Chicago.
Wow. Oh, well, maybe they're big. Maybe if they turn one of their pay-per-views into like a big WrestleMania type weekend, they'll be at TIAA.
Well, we still have Battle of the Belts, remember?
Yeah.
So,
I forgot that they what's it called? Copyrighted that.
They did, yeah. I pay attention to way too much about AEW. So
much comes through my head, and I just completely forgot about it. And then when someone mentions it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but this new show, I just want to know what it is, and I think when people want to talk about ratings and demographics and get into all the numbers, which as a journalist just hurts my head, is Warner Media obviously loves AEW. I mean, one of the matches last night was sponsored by Godzilla vs. Kong. Hell of a movie, by the way.
Oh man, I've seen it. I will vouch for that. Yep, that was. I'm not gonna say I was expecting the worst, but I wasn't expecting.
Low bar.
Yeah, my bar is pretty low going into that movie because I'm like, okay,
I didn't like the first two because it was too much like the first two Godzilla movies. It's like 90% human drama, 10% monsters punching things. This was like 90% monsters punching things, 10% human drama. I'm like, that's the balance.
The first Godzilla was horrible. The second one, I was okay with this. I was okay with the second because there was a lot of King Gordier, which I really wanted to see a lot of him, and there was a lot of him in that second movie.
It was more fun, but. So like that, you've got the Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes reality show. You had Cody hosting the Go Big show. There's a lot of synergy there. So it's like that's another sign that they're going to be sticking around. I'm waiting for the HBO Max announcement.
So the second,
or them to be added to HBO Max.
So the second show, this hour that's coming to TNT, obviously I've seen people say like, oh, it's going to be Elevation. Like, I don't think TNT is going to buy a show that's going to feature people that they don't know about. They want it to be AEW, like what their show now is about, the Dynamite. It's going to be a second Dynamite, but only an hour. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do with only one extra hour of TV. Like, is it going to be the same format as Dynamite or...
Remember, they did the 1 hour special. Remember, they did that 1 hour special, that late night special.
That's right. Yeah, that was.
And they had 4 killer matches, or 3 killer matches, and they did a whole bunch of promo, and it worked really. It was Brandy and who was it with? It was Brandy and Anna Jay, and it was Scorp.
Oh, right.
Nathan Frazier.
Yep.
And I don't remember who the main event was, but it was like, they were all very good matches. Yeah. And it breezed by and it did a good rating. So I could see it being something like that, like a combination of that and their like preview shows, which they do such great like promo stuff with. Like that would be cool.
Now, do you think that's going to be a lot of cross, or are they going to like take a chunk of their roster and just stick it on this hour show, and then they're going to stay on that hour show, and you're not going to see them on Dynamite? Unless there's a crossover feud.
I think it would be smart to keep certain people in certain places. Like, for me, like one of the arguments we'll get into, and was a big talking point coming out of last Dynamite, bled into this week, was there's too many people on the shows, there's too many factions. Like, I wouldn't mind, like, right now, if you took, like, okay, the two big feuds we have right now in AEW with the two big factions that are very similar, like the Elite and
maybe it's going to be a
Moxley's
show for
Army.
factions. Maybe that's why there's so many factions. It's literally going to be an hour.
Well, the trios tournament has to be coming, unless that show is just going to be all tournaments, which to me is, I'm totally fine with that. I love tournaments, much like you
They
do.
want to be sports based. That would be a smart way to do it.
I mean, think about it. I mean, trios tournaments, Crockett Cup, women's tag tournament, like whatever. You could do a hardcore tournament. You could do like a bunkhouse brawl tournament. That'd be awesome. You could do, specialty shows. That'd be awesome there. But like taking, like, say, putting Inner Circle and Pinnacle and putting them on the 1 hour show, that's their show with a whole bunch of other people. That's the big feud there. And the big feud for Dynamite would be the Elite / Bullet Club versus Moxley's Army, or vice versa. I think that way and that was a problem with it. Kind of talk about the Meltzer stuff, where to talk about the problems with AEW's booking is like, okay, now we have clear, this is their direction for this show. This is direction for this show. They culminate these, because these storylines often don't cross pollinate. So it's like, they're going to come together, or we'll see the payoffs at the pay-per-view.
So now someone brought it up in the chat, Cupid Girl says, what if it's a 1 hour women's division show?
Great. I'm here for it. Tony Khan, if you need recommendations, you hit us up on Twitter at AllElitePod.
Yeah.
I'll
forward it. Don't worry. I'll forward the information.
Bodkin writes WRTES. I'm available for work. No, but I mean, if it's an all women's show, yeah. I mean, the AEW women's division has some really good talent on it. This week we saw the Sea Stars, who were in NWA, and they've been in the Indies. They picked up a win this week, and I'm like, cool. If they're in, like, let's have more showcase for the women. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later, Bert, about QT's faction, but we're gonna move on here and talk about
one of the best logos.
So wrestling Twitter criticizing AEW last night, and
do we want to get to the, before we get to that, because that's gonna take forever? Do you want to get to the Jericho thing?
The podcast, or okay, so I was actually going to bring up Meltzer's, because wrestling Twitter criticizing AEW ties into what Meltzer brought up.
Yeah,
and so Meltzer on his podcast this week brought up AEW's booking, complained that so I talked about this with Bill off air. I'm like, Meltzer, like, 1 week will come out and like praise the shit out of AEW, like last week, and then all of a sudden this week it's like it's the worst show, period, and basically without saying, comparing it to like later on WCW. Saying like there's too many factions, they book too many people, which a fact is apparently last night around 72 people appeared on TV. Which in on the brighter side of that, 72 people got paid last night. So
people do get regular paychecks there. I hate to burst your bubble, but yeah. So Meltzer's whole clip there was, he was saying he was talking to a lot of people who've been booking for a long time. They were talking about, and this was motivated by AEW losing in ratings, especially in the female demographic. I think in the P2 graphic, which is like 2 people watching in the 18 to 49 category.
Yeah, they're losing the female audience, and then obviously the 50 plus. There's always going to be the 50 plus.
And then there was like overall like kind of stagnation of the ratings, and so he was saying that one of the things is there's too many people around the ring. There's not enough. There's too much blood, and the destinations of the big angles are not clearly defined.
The too much blood thing really got me. I'm like, there's not too much blood. There's I think it's just the right amount of blood. It's not every week we see blood.
Well, we saw it twice last week.
Yeah, but
I think you have to be judicious with it. I think like it's I don't like, we announced Blood and Guts. AEW announced Blood and Guts on May 5th. I don't think anyone should bleed on Dynamite until May 5th.
Okay. But
put the moratorium to make it special, because you don't want to desensitize the crowd to blood. You want it to be special. Like Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, we'll talk about that for years to come.
100%.
How special that was, because we don't see blood in a lot of women's matches in the United States on major promotions. But if you have too much blood on there, you burn it out. So I think keeping it for Blood and Guts and doing it every once a month or once every few months, I think is a good thing. because I think they've had people bleeding a little bit too much recently. I mean, I have no problem with it, but I can see how it turns people off, and you don't want to burn something out.
Right.
Much like, remember in the beginning of Dynamite, it was always every show ended up with a Pier 6 brawl.
Yeah.
And then it meant nothing.
Yeah.
So you can calm that down. And I think the thing with the destinations for me is just like, I think after every AEW pay-per-view, they kind of go back to, it's like a season. So, okay, we just finished that season. Okay, we're starting new. And it's just like everything is kind of nebulous and unformed. And eventually we get to the destination where we want to go. I mean, I remember a few weeks out from Revolution, it was like, oh man, like, where are they going with half of this? And by the time we got to Revolution, I'm like, I can't wait, you know? So
the main title, I was going like, who's Kenny gonna face? Like I was sitting there going, what the hell? Who?
I mean, that's the thing. Like right now, we don't know anything heading towards Double or Nothing because I mean, I think we could assume Britt and Sheeta, but like,
other than that,
man, like we're a month before Double or a few weeks before Double or Nothing, we're doing Blood and Guts between Pinnacle and.
In saying that, which makes me think that the reason why they didn't put that on Double or Nothing is because they have Double or Nothing written down, and they probably have a card set where Blood and Guts would probably overshadow a lot of stuff they don't want overshadowed on that card.
Sure, that's true. I can see that too because that'll be like Stadium Stampede again. But then again, I'm just like, well, why would that be a bad thing?
Mm-hmm. I think something big's planned for Double or Nothing. Something's got to be big planned, and we already had a tease yesterday. Freaking Andrade tweeting out a Jaguar and a fist. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is not a guy that trolls, okay? This means something.
I think he's trolling.
He's never trolled once in his life.
Doesn't mean you can't. I mean,
I don't think he's trolling. There's no way.
I didn't drink at one point until I was like 25 or 26.
Although scratch that, he did post a picture, post bed rocking session with Charlotte. I'm like, what are you doing?
I think he's trying to get people, maybe he'll show up there one day. I don't know. But again, like, I don't know. Does Andrade move the needle for AEW?
Right now he doesn't because he'll get lost in the shuffle just like Miro is.
Well, yeah, I'll get to that later. But I mean, my thing with the Meltzer booking thing is like, I think some of some of the stuff he said, I get that. And I think AEW needs a little more follow through. Like you just mentioned with Miro. I think there should be more follow through, but again, it's just like some stuff gets dropped. Some stuff like doesn't come to fruition. I think we should have had like Miro kick the crap out of Kip Sabian this week, or Kip Sabian's trying to get a hold of Miro and Miro, he can't reach him anywhere. That would have just give us a little breadcrumb of maybe dissension in the ranks of Miro.
That'll also help with the second show because I think, they do have only a 2-hour slot and some segments run a little bit too long where they could fit more, but I don't think they want to kind of like oversaturate their shows and have too much going on.
Yeah, but I think the one other thing was like there's a lot of people. If you have too many people on the shows, then no one's over. And sometimes you have too many people. Hey, Ricky Starks really wrestles on Dynamite, and I think that's a sin because Ricky Starks is the future.
Really
although
good.
I am hoping. This Christian Cage thing leads to him and Christian Cage.
Oh, that would be dope. Man, Christian Cage last week had such a good match, and I was hoping...
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. It was so good, man. It was so good.
He still got it. I was shocked. I was like, hey, what are we going to get out of him? It's been 7 years. What are we actually going to get? And then...
I love the fact he took the flux capacitor. Because that was a show, that was a statement to everyone. He's like, I can take any move.
Yeah.
And if you actually listen to his interview with Jericho... He talks about how his issue with concussions was a lot of it was mental because he kept thinking he was going to get one, and the doctors say that's going to make you more susceptible to getting them.
Okay,
and when I heard him say that, and then I thought back to the flux capacitor, I'm like, that's confidence. He is confident in what he can do, and that's dangerous. I mean, dangerous in a good way.
And he looks great too. Like he's. When he's talking about it, I remember him talking with Renee and talking about like he's like I just set up a gym in my garage and I just went ham and took it seriously. And now look, he's in the best shape he's ever been. I don't remember ever seeing Christian that cut before.
No,
he looks great. So
he does.
Good for him.
But I mean, you have a lot of people in AEW right now. You have a big roster, and it's easy for people to get lost in the shuffle. But I also think there's a thing with patience too, and I think also like how we've been. Kind of conditioned by WWE booking. Again, I'm not going to crap on WWE. I'm just saying like WWE does something a certain way. And Meltzer brought this up too, is that it's like, Jericho didn't challenge for the title again when he lost to Moxley.
Yeah.
Throw that out the window because COVID happened. So everything had to change. But he's like, why aren't more people going after Darby? Well, Matt Hardy's next week now.
Yeah.
It's like, why is it JD Drake? Well, why do we have to?
He kind of sounds like the wrestling community. He kind of sounds like the impatient idiots on wrestling Twitter that expect everything to happen like in 1 week.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's just like AEW and a lot of wrestling promotions get this too. But we're talking AEW. They get the damned if they do, damned if they don't. Remember, end of December, early January of last year, it was there's not enough people. It's the same damn people on Dynamite every week. Now there's a ton of people on there. There's why don't I see the same people on Dynamite every week? It's not every show can be a super show.
What's funny? Those are the same people too that would praise NXT when they didn't used to feature everybody every week, and it was
which is smart.
Yeah.
So it's smart. It keeps everyone healthy. It doesn't burn them out. And like, why should you just randomly burn out Jungle Boy going after a title if you're not going to put a title on him?
Exactly.
Like, don't do that, and don't have these same guys wrestle week after week after week after week. I mean, how many times? How did we see? And we've seen two examples in AEW. One of them was Britt and Thunder, and that worked really well. And then the other one was Best Friends versus Miro and Kip, and that worked very poorly. Had a great ending, but no one cared because it was just not booked well, and people were tired of it. So it's AEW's they have to stay. They just need clarity and follow through. I think that's the one thing they just need to focus on, like anyone would need to. But they're trying to build. They've built a lot of people, and they're trying to build new stars, and that takes time.
And they've done a good job of that so far. You look at the stars that they've built so far. Like MJF has been built up pretty good. Jungle Boy's been built up pretty good. Darby Allin's been built up pretty good. Like they have.
I mean, you main evented a Dynamite with Darby Allin and John Silver.
Yeah.
And it got a huge rating. And John Silver was hired as an enhancement talent originally, Like, that's how over he got.
They're Dark Order goons. They're like the guys in the background.
Yeah. Hangman Page, over huge.
Yeah. He was a jobber, but no one knows that he was a jobber before AEW.
Oh, I know. I saw him in Ring of Honor wearing with John Deere inspired trunks, But that's the thing. Like, they've gotten a lot of people over. Now you got to get that next crew ready. And I still think they're still holding back a little bit, I think, for waiting for bigger crowds. Like even Jacksonville to expand the audience. Like even Tony Khan said on a Busted Open interview, like maybe getting more people in Jacksonville.
Right. And what? Like how old is this company now? Like not even 3.
Not even 3 years old yet.
So like people need to calm down. Like they compared this to like a company that's been around for 10 years and should have their shit together. Like
here's the thing. Like someone said this on Twitter. And I think your boy Sammy liked this. That's how I saw it. Was
Samster.
If AEW puts on a B or even C level show, people think it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Now, if they are going to start producing C level shows every week, then we have to be concerned. But I have faith that AEW hasn't really let me down yet. Yeah. So even that explosion post Revolution is just like, all right, they did a pretty good job of explaining that.
Oh, they did such a good job.
Eddie Kingston, and even Tony Khan said, "Thank God for Eddie Kingston," And I mean they've done well. AEW's every booking can be better everywhere, even when ECW is red hot.
Yeah,
it's never going to be perfect. So
WWE is not perfect every damn week. I'll say it. I'll say it. Tweet me, criticize me all you guys want. That show sucks.
That's why you do an AEW podcast. And not a
I used to do. People should go back on this network and you guys see I was in love with that company. I started this network based on that company. They made me fall out of love with them. So anyways,
you named this network after a Hulk Hogan movie.
Yeah, exactly. Our first freaking logo, I stole it. Then I'm like, maybe we should probably not do that.
Never say that. You allegedly borrowed something.
Well, back then when I was using Microsoft Paint to do my graphic work.
Yes, I've done that too.
On a computer that was running Windows Vista, so there it says a lot for where I came from.
As that computer even ran, dude. But yeah, I think AEW does listen to criticism. And they are trying their best to put out a good product. And I think we as fans have every right to be critical of AEW, but it's also have perspective too. I mean, as someone who has worked in journalism, is a journalist, it's like you have to see all sides of what's going on. And, hey, if they didn't think about it this way, they might not tell the story the way you want it to be told, but if it's a good story, just roll with it, dude. Also, there's a lot worse things in the world you can get mad about. More important things in the world to get mad about than AEW Dynamite for this week, early April.
So we'll briefly talk about this. So Jericho is on Stone Cold's going to be on Stone Cold's podcast. Technically, he's already taped, but so he was on Stone Cold's podcast.
Also, I talk a lot, so I apologize to the chat. I talk a lot.
Hey, I knew this podcast is going to be a longer running time. That's fine. People can listen to it. They can go back and listen to it. That's what podcasting is. When you listen to your podcast out there, who the hell sits there for like an hour and listens to the whole thing straight? I literally have stuff to do. Okay, you might, but like for me, I'll go listen to a podcast and I'll be 50 minutes in. Shit, I got to go do laundry or something. I'll pause it. I'll come back to it. People come back to this one. I know they do because I see the stats. Anywho.
I'm a draw, people. I'm a draw. Don't worry.
So Stone Cold's podcast is going to be featured on Peacock / still the network up here because we don't have Peacock. So it's this Sunday.
I don't like Peacock.
I heard. So this Sunday before WrestleMania Night 2. First question that comes out of this. So Jericho appearing.
I thought it was after.
Is it after or before? I thought they were showing it before.
I thought it was after.
I couldn't find a time for the life of me. I literally Googled it, did not come up with a time anywhere. So
I think it's like the following Sunday.
I'm almost certain it's this Sunday. Sunday, April 11th. I found the date. I didn't find the time.
Oh, well, you know what? I just don't know time. I'm like, that's next week.
No, it's this Sunday.
Oh man! So the show will. It's going to be after WrestleMania 37.
So after, interesting.
Oh man, what an idiot! Yeah, sorry guys. I write for a living. I don't do numbers well.
So, anyways, big question here: is this part of the Forbidden Door?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Do you think that both companies actually like that this is happening?
Yes. I think that WWE looks at this as, let's show Peacock that we can bring in stuff after Mania.
Okay.
Like, let's just do another spectacular to close out the week. Show them like, hey, we're gonna do something cool because this is gonna do a big number. I'm definitely tuning in for this. I'm 100% tuning in for this. I might skip. I'm gonna skip around Mania, to be honest, with based on certain matches I like and don't like. But yeah, this is gonna be huge in AEW. I mean, we've already seen through a clip that Jericho's going to talk about AEW.
Yeah,
he name drops Sammy Guevara
and Paul White
and
Paul White.
And no BS, Paul White and Captain Insano, trademarked by AEW. And yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I don't think it'll be in depth and down and dirty like we know
they're going to be talking about. Jericho's run in there. They'll bring up probably his WCW days. They're going to bring up. His Attitude Era days when Stone Cold, when they were together.
Austin likes AEW.
Yeah,
you remember he had Tony Khan on his podcast after Double or Nothing. He was like, "Goddamn son, I love that shit." He loved that podcast, man. So I mean, that pay-per-view. So
goddamn son, if I was wrestling, I'd be wrestling right now in AEW.
He's like, those goddamn Lucha Brothers. And I was like, loved it. And I was like, yeah. So I think it's going to be a cool podcast. I don't think, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be pretty cool. And WWE does a good number. It gives more exposure to AEW because there are people who are just in the WWE bubble who are like, oh, Jericho retired, or Jericho. What happened to Jericho? He's just doing Fozzy, I guess. Oh, he's in this company that's on TNT. Cool. It helps the wrestling business all around. And let's just do it this way. I don't see talent exchanges or anything like that, though.
So I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie if I didn't say that I was completely shocked when I first seen it and saying, how is this even happening?
I was, yeah.
Because, no one would have thought this would ever happen. No one could have said that, you know what, I guarantee Jericho's going to be on Stone Cold's podcast in the next 3 weeks. And it's like, no one's going to, there's been no cross whatever with these companies. This is the first, basically, thing of a cross promotion between AEW and WWE. And it's going to be interesting to see the fallout from this. And I don't think people should go into it expecting, they're going to, break the fourth wall down and start talking shit about each company.
They're not going to break the wall down?
Yeah.
Break the wall down. Don't make me start singing Fozzy songs. I know a lot of them.
But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Podcasts are always
it's
fun,
cool.
especially those two who are podcasters on the same podcast. Talking.
Jericho's
to each other.
not. He's smart, and people are like, "Oh, is this Jericho coming back?" I don't think so.
Who's saying that?
Well, he's in a contract year, so this is final year of his AEW contract. People are like, "Oh, is this Jericho going to come back to WWE?"
Jericho is not going anywhere.
He's making a lot of money in AEW. I think he's very invested in it. He's said enough things about WWE that aren't great.
Yeah, and he's had people on his podcast say enough things about WWE that weren't great, aka the Moxley. The Moxley one, I always go back and listen to it because that's probably one of the best podcast episodes ever, guys. If you haven't seen Jericho and Moxley on the podcast, oh my God. Like, Moxley basically breaks it down the last year and a half of his WWE days and how bad it was. So
John Moxley is an excellent podcast guest, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, it's a good storyteller, just good in this business.
Hell of a guy.
And lastly,
like the time we talked about getting high on coke and going to the library. That's great.
We got to talk about this. So tomorrow, it's actually tomorrow. So tomorrow, we actually have if I can pull it up here, the first house show for AEW. Yeah, it's happening. There's the
always wins.
Is that what? Yeah, that's what they're calling it, correct?
Yeah,
I'm not losing
because they're
head.
obsessed with the casino stuff.
Yeah, what's up with that? Why are they so obsessed? God, I just went bright.
I have no idea.
So I have the card here, and I'm gonna read it off, and you tell me what you think of each match. So we have.
Did you hear that they're gonna tape this?
Yeah, for their archive, and for whatever maybe future network that they ever get.
I feel like they're gonna use something from one of these matches on Dynamite.
Yeah. So we have the tag team champions, the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler, which I'm curious to see people reporting how they get along with each other after what just happened this week against the Death Triangle.
Well, Cutler's the one who told him to man up, so
I guess. World champion Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa against the Seidel brothers.
And T. Nakazawa.
Darby Allin versus To Be Determined because they're going to have a 12-man battle royal for the TNT title shot. They're going to have Hobbs, Archer, Starks, Sky, Ethan Page, The Butcher, The Blade, Dustin Rhodes, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Dark Order's 10, and Colt Cabana.
Gun Club. I think it's going to be Ethan Page.
You think so?
Yeah, him and Darby have a great history.
I will make a pick and think it's Ricky Starks.
Still another great one.
Cody Rhodes is going to face Aaron Solo in a street fight.
Yep, that's the match they're going. What shenanigans are going to abound, and that's going to end up on Dynamite. Like the Factory, I think is going to kick the crap out of Cody.
We have the women's champion Hikaru Shida, Tay Conti, and Red Velvet taking on Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and the Bunny.
Love it.
Eddie Kingston versus Cesar Bononi, which is so random, and I hope Kingston's okay because he came out in a cast this week.
I think he's okay. I'm glad they're giving Cesar Bononi some dates, man. He's going through a lot of stuff personally.
Yeah. The Pinnacle versus Jurassic Express and Dante Martin of Top Flight because his partner's still injured. And Orange Cassidy and Jade Cargill will be in action. Doesn't say who they're facing, but they will be in action.
So Jade will probably, she'll squash somebody.
Danny Jordan or something.
Who's that?
Danny Jordan, I'm guessing.
I was thinking like Pink Dream or Leva.
Yeah.
Or Batty Rankowski, like one of the younger talents. And then Orange, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Orange and Kip.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. But yeah, that's the first house show. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if
it's a good house show. I'm still a little surprised they're doing it around WrestleMania weekend, but
they're drawing in on that crowd. They sold a lot of tickets for this, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, people also don't realize Jacksonville round trip to Tampa is like 6 hours, so it's not like
you're right.
Yeah, and those other shows sold already.
That is also news. So what do you think? Do you think B. Priestley shows back up in AEW because she done with Stardom?
Nope.
You don't think so?
According to the old Meltzer Express, it's going to be NXT.
Wow.
NXT UK, possibly NXT UK, which to me is like
okay, that's better.
No, I mean to me it's just like if you want to go to Siberia, sure. Everyone in NXT UK I think is ice cold.
Okay.
Except for if you're not Walter or A-Kid or Pretty Deadly, like they don't care about you. Like Tyler Bate wrestled this weekend. Tyler Bate was one of the best wrestlers in the world, like the hottest prospects out there. Does anyone think about that guy?
I remember his Pete Dunne matches. That's one thing I remember.
Yeah, but I was a huge British wrestling fan. He was the hottest thing going, and he's like nothing now. So I think she goes to Florida. I
Okay.
think she's going to Florida.
Well,
But yeah, because
be
they're
more
saying
specific, Florida.
it's not. They're saying it's not. It's Orlando, Central Florida. They're saying Belts are saying it's not AEW, because apparently she turned down WWE to go to AEW. I still think it was a bad move. They let her go, but
Yeah. But the one thing I'm curious about is because Will Ospreay put "see you soon" in a post on Instagram. Is Ospreay joining the fold after he's done his little championship run with New Japan?
he's signed for I think he's signed for a while.
Is it a long time?
He's locked in there. I think. I don't think that would be giving up a good thing there. But yeah, people really hated him winning that. By the way,
Right. Heel turn Chris on Twitter. What's going on? I see your hands there. Thank you for tuning in, buddy.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if Ospreay shows up in AEW.
Okay.
I would very much like it.
That would be dope. Because I'm a big Ospreay fan. So the last bit of news, they have a new YouTube show, AEW Cummins, called Outside the Ring, with Alexi Nair.
Yeah, who's the first guest? Abaddon, living dead girl.
See that? I'm like, no, okay, nope. I'm not watching the first episode now. I'll catch the next one.
I mean, they started it. This is a weird one. They started this a while ago, and then they kind of dropped it. And I'm glad it's back. It's a fun little character development thing, and I'm sure
it looks good. I mean, I saw the clip, it scared me, and I was like, okay, this looks fun. This looks like it'd be fun.
There was something interesting. It's a random thing that I don't know if I saw it on Twitter. Ryzen, that guy who loses all the time, he did an amazing video about his character. And Cody, because Cody liked it. I follow Cody, so he liked it. And Abaddon reached out and she's like, if you ever need anyone, I'll team with, I'll work with you.
They would be a sick,
they would be a hell of a team. They'd be a hell of a duo, let's just say.
See, I'm not scared of Ryzen, so I'd be okay.
Yeah, he could temper that for you.
But anyway, so that's a lot of news we talked about. It's a lot of fun news. But we're going to talk about Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. So for some reason, people didn't like this episode of Dynamite, which I'm
Worst
still sitting
Dynamite
there.
ever, guys.
I'm sitting there
I
going,
mean, did anyone forget the Dark Order ending in December of 2019? That's the worst episode.
Like, there's been so many worse episodes of Dynamite, and they're saying that. How is this the worst? So much great stuff happened on this episode of Dynamite.
People hated this so much, and then they were like, yeah, I think also people were like, oh, well, NXT was. Oh, thank God I watched NXT. I saw that Bucks turn coming a mile away. It's just like, if you watch TakeOver, that's cool, man, because you know what? You're allowed to watch whatever you want with wrestling. And the TakeOver card was excellent. It was stacked. I haven't watched all of night one just because
I might be in the minority. I did not see that turn.
I didn't really either.
I thought they were going to have a clean match.
But here's my thing with this turn. You can't be half pregnant. You have to stick with it.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be swerved
because we already did this. This was already done. We had the T-shirt made out of it. This was already done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we did this already. Now, I don't mind. Like, if this was a little more deviant, like, I don't also think they should have that match with Death Triangle next week. I feel like next week should be the Bucks explain their actions, promo, and then the Death Triangle's like, we don't give a shit. We're gonna fight you next week. Yeah.
They get jumped.
It's just like, I want to just stick with it. Be bad guys. Make it work from there. That's what I want to see.
This is my fear, though. I don't think they are, because they were trying to do the too sweet in the end, and then Matt's like, no, we're going to hug instead. So I'm like, okay, well, they're not fully turned. Everyone wants to say they're fully turned. I don't think so.
I think they are.
You think?
I think they have to be. I think they have to be. You don't want to keep, because people did not like this at all. And I think the Bucks are the best when they're annoying. And I think if they became
when they're the New Japan Bucks, that's the best young Bucks.
Yeah, and I think if we got that, then what this allows is Moxley and Kingston to go after them and eventually, hopefully, maybe beat them. And then Moxley and Kingston holding the titles allows for, my hope, Santana and Ortiz or FTR or another team to take that title off of them.
We need beat, like, when the Bucks are funny on BT, we need those Bucks on Dynamite.
That's what I mean. I think that's the thing. Like, the Bucks are always great in the ring. I think we need the dynamic Bucks back because we got the Cleaner back. Remember, that was the whole thing. We wanted Kenny the Cleaner. We got Kenny the Cleaner back. We want the Young Bucks of old. And if we get the Young Bucks of old back, like, full time, that's going to be awesome, because I feel like you're also burning out the Good Brothers a little bit. We don't need them every week on Dynamite.
Yeah, it's getting a little much.
And especially if they head back to Japan for a little bit, this will help that. I would rather those three run that. And that's why I'm saying like split up some of these feuds to a different show.
Yeah. So I bring this up to Tiff each and every time. I'm gonna bring it up to you. So I eventually see this.
I do not have a list of husbands. So
no. Okay. So I
answer that.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
It's the best. That's all I'm saying.
But
I don't want to eat with Tiff.
but so, God damn it. Kenny, basically, he's brainwashed by Don Callis. Don Callis is the puppeteer.
He's the jackal.
And he's the puppet. Like, he's getting controlled by Don Callis. Will they, because of the Forbidden Door, is this eventually going to lead? Like, we know that Hangman's going to beat Kenny for the belt. That's a given.
Has to.
And it's going to be when we're traveling again. We can get a full crowd, so at that moment, it's just that much better. But I don't foresee Kenny still breaking from Don from that match. I kind of still see Kota being the one to snap Kenny back out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta. I think it would,
because right now Kenny's far gone. He's lost it. He's cuckoo. He's full on batshit crazy with Don Callis now, and you can tell like Don Callis is just doing this with the puppeteer thing.
I feel like this is the long con here, but like I would love to see. It's like this big reclamation of Kenny's soul, where like, and we're so say like the Bucks turn face in Hangman and all that, and this is down the road, it's not anytime soon. That Kota would be the final one to put him over the top, and then or that it would be Don has a new, or somebody has a new group of heels with them, and they are beating up Kenny because Kenny lost the match, and Ibushi comes out to save him, and then we have the reunion, and then we have Kenny's reclamation, kind of how like Kenny came out and saved Ibushi. And when the Golden
dude, people lost their shit for that. That was amazing.
And just imagine if out of nowhere, say it's Pinnacle, I'm just going to say that for argument's sake, is now aligned with Don, and Kenny was with them, and then they lose like a blood and guts type match. They beat the crap out of Kenny.
Yeah.
Whoever they're fighting, which I'm going to assume is the Elite, is like Hangman, the Bucks, maybe Cody. They get beaten up. They're taken because they're already decimated, and then the Golden Star comes out and he saves the day, and everyone loses their mind. They hug, and Kenny Omega's back, and the Golden Lovers reunite, and they go after Don and crew. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that would be some sort of alliance. Cuba Girl in the chat. Can you imagine if it's not Kota and it's freaking Okada?
I mean, yes, that would be. I mean,
that would, because they have their history.
Sorry, let me just get the chills off of my nose there. Yeah,
they have their history together, like of being opponents, but then they have that mutual respect now, and he's the one that comes like the coin drop would create the biggest pop in history.
Oh my God. Yes, it would. Yeah, it really would. Because I was thinking like who could team with Hangman if he was going to go after them, and the first guy I thought of was Tanahashi.
Oh God, yeah.
Because Tanahashi always puts over Hangman, and I'm just imagine he comes out. It's just like, come on.
Any of those big New Japan stars, they're gonna get the biggest pop ever when they first appear. I'm ashamed that, and it sucks so much for when Kenta did his thing, because I guarantee if they had a full crowd, the crowd would have went ape shit for if Kenta took that hoodie off.
Much like you, I was at the Garden for the New Japan show, and you saw the reaction any New Japan person except Yoshihashi got.
Right.
Poor Yoshihashi.
Pop Central. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Okada came out, my ears were ringing.
Dude, I lost my voice when the Great Muta came out.
Because I lost my shit too, because I just seen him like 2 hours before that at House of Glory.
I forgot he was there for House of Glory, so I was just like, it was Liger came out. That was my dad's favorite, and he was one of my favorites. And I was like, oh God, if he wins, he wins. And of course, they give it to Kenny King. Nothing against Kenny King, just a terrible booking decision. Yeah. And it was just, and then Muta comes out, and it's Muta and Liger. I'm like almost in tears out of my third whiskey, and I'm like, my buddy Kenny is just like, he's like, dude, like we have like a 3-hour show to get through still.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't care. It was so good, man.
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. So we'll see what happens with this story.
Dude, I'm telling you. And then Okada just, he had the Olympic torch. He's running around. So the Olympics are going to happen in Japan this year, it seems. And like, I still think if New Japan's like, all right, we're taking the summer off, Florida seems real nice in the summer. It actually doesn't. It's horrible, but humidity wise. But I mean, hey.
So do you think they're going to focus hard on the American brand here once that comes up? Like because we know they're going to have their American TV show now. Are they going to just go all up balls to the wall and try to build the shit out of that all summer during the Olympics?
Why not? And why not cross promote with AEW?
Yeah, that too.
No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised. Like, that's the one thing about this Forbidden Door, man. I'm just like, why are more people not coming in? Like, why isn't Rich Swann showed up in AEW?
It's only been the Good Brothers. Yeah, right?
It's just been the Good Brothers. Like, none of the women. You know, I would love
Matt
to
Hardy
see
and Private Party went over for like a short stint, but that didn't last too long.
Yeah, which was fine. Like, I'm fine with short. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a residency. You know, it could just be a couple weeks. And like,
Example A, Death Triangle. Last night, what if it was an Impact team that came out instead of the Best Friends? Why didn't an Impact team not come out and you know have a little beef with them and say, you know, we'll be watching?
Impact's lost a lot of talent recently, so I mean, they don't have anyone I think that would move the needle too much on that. But like for me, I look at like right now they are primed because it's Kenny, the Good Brothers, and the Bucks, and it's just Moxley, you know, dinged up Eddie Kingston. Right now, it's teamed that Swan and Willie Mack. Like, it makes sense for them. They could come out and back them up. That would make sense. It would play into what happened on Impact, or what's happening
tonight on Impact is where they're playing tonight. I think they're having a match tonight, actually.
It's either Friday or at Impact they have the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view or something like that.
I thought there was an Impact tonight. Wasn't tonight their first Thursday show?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's their first Thursday show. Yeah, but it's like, so Swan and Willie Mack could back up John Moxley, and that would play into, hey, Impact's got a pay-per-view in like next week. Yeah. You know, it'd be awesome. But I don't know if they'll do that. They should. I still am waiting for Nick Aldis to show up on AEW, even though he seems to not really care for AEW in interviews. And New Japan. Let's see more of that. And I mean, Tony Khan said this year I got a lot up my sleeve, and I think some of that will be New Japan talent coming in. That first guy I want to see, dude, and it's not going to be a popular opinion. First guy I want to see, I just want to see Murder Grandpa. I want to see Minoru Suzuki come out there, and I will just scream and frighten my family. That's what I want.
Do you think it'll be a big star that first shows up? Because I mean, Kenta is
that or it's Yuji Nagata.
Technically, Kenta is the first one to show up.
Yeah, but I mean, Yuji Nagata would be the other one because Moxley challenged him. So I'm like, is this going to be on Strong or is this going to be in an AEW arena?
Oh, they love Moxley over there. Like Moxley is crazy. He's like the one wrestler in the world right now that's a big star on two different major promotions at the same time.
Deservedly so.
So like they effing love Moxley in New Japan. They don't want him to go away.
Just think about 2 years ago. That guy before Double or Nothing was just like, who cares?
Right?
Like no one cared. And then all of a sudden he came out, was himself, and everyone's like, oh, he's the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah. He should be. Like he is. He's actually the guy can wrestle any kind of match, and he's the best wrestler in the world.
His promos are great.
Yeah.
Great.
So I can't wait to see what happens next week with this whole storyline. What do you think of Max Caster? I gotta generate an opinion here because I think there's a big star in him. He's got a lot of potential. He's 31 years old.
Apparently?
Huh?
He's 31 apparently.
Yeah, 31, which is crazy.
Like, he looks like he's 24. So good on you, buddy. But dude, he's a star. He's just a guy that keeps sharpening him every week. Did not look bad in this match. Did not look bad in the loss. Don't sleep on Anthony Bowens either. That guy is super good. We have not seen the best of him yet either. I've been watching him for a long time. He's a Jersey guy.
See, I'm all about their entrance. I love their entrance. A lot of people were saying that it's a lame rap. The rap gimmick's been done, but like,
dude, his videos are super clever. I think that the Hangman one he did was awesome.
Yeah, that was solid. Yeah,
he's got a long career in AEW ahead of him, and I was very happy because I remember the first time I ever saw him. I had heard the name. I was supposed to see him on a show and he was injured and couldn't make it a couple of years ago. And when he did a video for just being on Dark, I was like, they have to sign this guy.
Right.
They have to sign this guy. He is just, I don't care if he sucks in the ring. I hadn't seen him wrestle yet. He is so creative. You got to sign. I love what they can. There's so much upside to him. And that's a lot of the AEW roster right now, which makes me very happy.
I just love that his freestyles are getting better too. They're getting very like him mentioning Biden.
Sometimes he says stuff that's a little too edgy, and I'm just like, you could not go there. Try and be a little more clever without making sexual jokes and stuff like that. I mean, I sound like a stodgy old man when I say that, but you're on TNT. It's just like he is very clever, and I
Yeah.
think sometimes he just goes for the easy joke, and I think like being a little more clever will play for him in the long run.
And then he, I love like the whole like Anthony Bowens part of it too, when he gets in the ring and like shouts AEW, like that gets the crowd going. Then the Acclaimed, all right, and does the whole A thing.
Yep, he's good, man. He's real good. And to think he was a guy who was on the, first time we ever saw him on AEW TV was he was in that Shawn Spears looking for a tag team partner videos.
I remember that. Yeah. Well, now.
But Hangman looked great in that match too. I mean,
the Acclaimed are over. From what I've seen too, I gather a lot on Twitter. They're getting
shit
over
out of those guys.
Yeah. So
that was his idea. That likes his baby. He is so like he always talks about the Acclaimed.
All right. So we'll talk about our thumbnail. My thumbnail today. So the Inner Circle returned. They had that whole like entrance thing before the show intro where they're showing up in all those cars and this whole like I don't know, do I call it Motley Crue type like what's
their Dr. Feelgood all black leather look.
Yeah. So
Jericho
probably cut the best promo I've ever seen him cut in AEW. That promo was so good.
It's up there. He had the Jarrah beard, which I appreciated.
Yeah. Like this is up there with his like I remember his Lexicon promo was really good. That was hilarious.
There's a couple Cody ones that have been
great. I still won't ever forget the stupid idea from Bad Creative promo. When
that was like show 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I just remember that was like it just showed you how great and that's the one thing with Jericho. His promos are always good in AEW and the lack of crowd. But when they get back to full-time crowds, man, dude, he's just gonna
calling it the Fed.
Good at reacting. He's so good at reacting and taking people to the palm of his hand and like turning, playing with their emotions. It's so good. And this was really good too. He used the word jerk off a lot.
Yeah, and he called was it my friend jerk off or
my jerk off friend?
My jerk off friend.
I felt bad for you when he made fun of your boy Spears' blonde mohawk.
It's an interesting look. I'm gonna say it right out. I'm not a fan of my boy Spears' mohawk. I'm like, dude, why'd you paint it blonde? What are you doing? I know you're trying to. It's supposed to be like this certain look with the pinnacle. I don't think it.
He's trying to be edgy. He's trying to look different,
Yeah, he's in a really good faction. I mean, I bought the damn T-shirt when it first came out. So
you're wearing it now.
Yeah, I'm wearing it right now.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really like this promo too. He apologized to the fans for being a heel. And I was like, that's the first time I've ever heard that in a promo, or maybe like the first time in a long time. He's like, I'm sorry, we were shitty people. And I'm like, all right. I guess you guys are baby faces.
Well, he got cut off. I seen he got, it wasn't just my feed. He got cut off literally like when he was about to talk.
Yes, he did.
And I'm like, what are they doing? What the?
AEW's production still with the commercials, man.
There's a massive Inner Circle chant when they came back. It was huge. I'm like, oh my God, people are like digging this face turn.
People, I've seen people saying like they're not faces just because they got beat up, and I'm just like, okay, wait till they were when in front of live crowds, they were almost baby faces, But I mean, like that's wrestling 101. That's like big bad turns on bad guys beating up by other bad guys. The bad guys who are beaten up turn into good guys. That's how it's been forever.
Right.
I don't get it, but like why people would say that. But yeah, this promo was great. I'm a little surprised they went to Blood and Guts though.
Yeah, so the big announcement of this now May 5th, not even on pay-per-view, which we brought up earlier, that I'm thinking that they kind of just want to make sure that the card doesn't get overshadowed with it. Like maybe there's going to be some matches that they want people to pay attention to and that are going to be important, and they don't want, because everyone's been dying to see Blood and Guts. That's the thing. If they had to put this match on pay-per-view,
I was supposed to see it.
Right, So if this was going to be on pay-per-view, people would be like, okay, fuck every other match. I just want to watch this match. So I don't think they want that to necessarily happen, because maybe they have some big plan for Double or Nothing.
I mean, I'm also hoping May 5th they do like, they get talk to AAA and get some luchadors in there, and we get some pretty cool stuff there.
So,
but
Double Ring, am I correct? This is basically like War Games, right?
It's not basically. It is.
It is War Games. So are they going to have the ring set up next to the other ring all night, or is this a filmed in the stadium type of match, you think?
I think you want people there.
And watching it, right? So you got to think that there's going to be
tough. I've been thinking about this all day. I'm like, are they going to, do it in front of a crowd in TIAA, or are they going to do it there? I thought that's where the barbed wire death match was going to be in the stadium, but I guess they're going to do it in the arena. They might do it in the arena. And back in the day when War Games was done in WCW, and even I think even with NXT, like
They have
there's
the room for it though. To put 2 rings there, they just need to move the ring like to the right. You know what I mean? So you know where the ramp is for AEW, the middle of the ramp? That would be the middle of both rings. You know what I mean? So there'd be a ring.
There's got to be a way to construct it. I'm not sure how it would work, but they can do it inside. I think that I was hoping for more of a build up with matches like Santana and Ortiz versus FTR and stuff like that. And I think we'll get those over the next couple of weeks, but to go right to this, on one hand, it's like, yeah, they hate each other and they're out for blood and this makes sense. But this is like, if the song Eruption was like a 12-minute song, it's just all guitar solos. So I'm just like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's going to be a dope match. Don't get me wrong, but it's an odd, like we're jumping right to that. And that's, I don't know how I feel about it. Do you think there'll be more matches? Do you think like maybe they're going to do the Hardy Empire and Dark Order in the same night? They're going to have 2 blood and guts matches. I wouldn't do that.
One opener, one to end the show.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, that's really what NXT
especially
does
3
right
weeks
now.
before pay-per-view too.
You don't want to do that. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't do that because I don't know what the destination is right now for any of those teams, but I wouldn't do 2 blood and guts matches. You definitely could, but I wouldn't do it. I think just save it for one, make it special, and make it awesome.
Right.
I wonder if it's going to be. I hope I should say it's an enclosed cage.
Oh, so there's no roof. Okay.
No, I wanted to have a roof.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't. So yeah, enclosed. I mean, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, like I wanted to be old school War Games where it's enclosed and you got to do that. That's what I want to see.
So another big topic from Dynamite was QT's new faction. I saw a lot of hate for QT's new faction.
There's been hate for this thing.
I'm sitting there going like, guys, listen.
The only thing that sucked was Camarado missed the logo.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting there going like, okay, this is actually how you do a faction with a bunch of new talent to get them over. This is how you properly do a faction. Why are people hating on this? Because it's QT?
Yeah, because he doesn't mean anything. He's just a low end guy. But I mean, that's how things start.
It gives the opportunity for someone to step up and kick him out and take over the faction.
You mean Anthony Ogogo?
Exactly. Oh man, that guy. After hearing that promo,
if he can I'm saying, dude, if he can wrestle, and they've been working with him for almost 2 years. Remember, they signed him in 2019.
I remember this signing. Yeah, it was like a. This is around the time. What's her name too was signed, but she never panned out. Sadie Gibbs.
Sadie Gibbs, yeah. And if he's legit in the ring, he's like the dude looks like money and he sounds like money. If he can work like money, they got a headliner.
Yeah.
Because he is so smooth and he has a legit background. He could be. It's a weird comparison. He could be their Kurt Angle.
See, I'd rather have something like this than what they were doing before this, like QT, like, oh, I may leave the Nightmare Factory, I may not leave. Like that storyline was boring and bullcrap every single week. Now that they're doing something like this is great. You have people from Cody's Nightmare Factory turning on the factory and creating their own faction and going against them. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. And you think about who they're going to feud with. It's going to be against whatever's left of the Nightmare family. So like a Go-Go will probably end up with Dustin at some point, which will be great because Dustin will carry him to a great match. You're going to have probably Billy Gunn working with Camarado, and Camarado's no joke, man. I think he's people like he's an old school bruising brawler, and they don't really have that. And man, like Aaron Solo is super underrated. He's a really good wrestler, and then like so he'll be in there with like a Lee Johnson, and that'll be cool. And then you have QT and Cody, and I think eventually it's QT and Cody, but I think eventually it's going to be a Go-Go and Cody.
Yeah,
if a Go-Go
can go,
if
a Go-Go can go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jade Cargill proved us wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, she stumbled out the gate, and they didn't put her in a good position, but she can go.
Right,
and we're gonna get her. We'll see her again next week.
So I don't know why people are complaining about this, but it's wrestling. I sit there and go, I wonder why people are complaining.
Too many factions. Too many factions. People say like wrestlers can't have friends. Like that's the one thing we always complain about. Is just like a guy's getting his ass kicked and no one comes out to help him. John Moxley, no one comes out to help him. We get it. He's a lone wolf, and now he has Eddie Kingston. But why wouldn't a heel or babyface have friends and they back them up? I mean, this makes sense, and factions have always worked. I mean, does anyone and someone wrote this up last week. It's like, oh, all these, they said students. The Nexus was the biggest thing WWE did like the last 20 years. Like that was a hot angle.
Right.
Like,
oh, when when it was at its prime with Barrett and then Cena and then the whole thing, like at the time, like Cena quitting and all that stuff, like that was a big storyline and
huge angle. You got Punk involved in that.
Yeah.
You brought Bret Hart into that. You brought Daniel Bryan back. It was huge, man. It was huge. And then let's not forget, during the Attitude Era, there were tons of factions.
Oh yeah,
like in WWE.
Literally, people just think about back then and just think about all the factions that were around, and then come back to me and say that AEW has too many factions. Unbelievable. Anyways, lastly, what did you think of the whole Tyson thing?
It was fine. It was fine. He didn't talk. He came out. He beat somebody up.
Beat Sean Spears.
The right guy, because Sean Spears he's a great seller, and
he is a good seller. Yeah.
He is really good at that. And then you have him and Jericho make up, which I could see. And yeah, that's fine. I mean, I didn't know why he needed him there, but he's there. And
I think because he's getting back into boxing. It's TNT. They're probably going to be covering the boxing fight, and it's all promotion.
Here's what I think is ultimately going to happen. I know he's going to be the ringside enforcer.
That's because next week's tape. So
for next week,
yeah.
I think he's involved in Blood and Guts, and he's there. He's going to be
really.
Tully's going to be handcuffed to him. I bet you. I mean, it makes sense. And then he like knocks Tully out or something like that. Yeah, I could see him being involved.
I just want to hear JR then right by Tyson. That's all right by Tyson. Just like that same call from WrestleMania. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, overall, this was a good show. I get why people didn't like it, and there's you could tighten some things up, but Ty Conti looked great again.
Yeah,
she's
Darby and JD Drake had a good match. Like it's
a bummer they didn't put the promo he did that was on the road to on Dynamite. That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was real good stuff.
Oh, well, people are going to hate it all they want then. Again, fine. Go complain on Twitter. Nobody cares.
Haters going to hate. Snoopers going to snoop.
Yep. Anyways, guys, before we go and end the show off, just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for the month. That is Manscaped. Ladies and gentlemen, we are partnered with Manscaped for the month of April. They gave us a code. Use code AEPSHAVE at checkout. You're going to save 20%. You're also going to get free shipping at manscaped.com. Get that. Oh, God. I just realized that. Bill, I apologize for the ad that came up. You're very zoomed in. So I because I have a double screen here. No, it's all right. It's all right. I fixed it. I fixed it. But yeah, AEPSHAVE at checkout. You're going to save 20% and get free shipping, guys. Get that special gift for your special someone in your life. Lots of awesome, cool stuff on Manscaped's website. Go check them out. It's not just the trimmer. They have a lot of other cool stuff. They have clippers. They got the boxers that actually they provide with me. They're very comfortable. Really highly suggest that. A lot of cool grooming, men's grooming stuff there, guys. And I can vouch for them. I've tested their product. It's legit 100%. I can definitely give you guys my 5-star review on it. So I highly suggest you check out Manscaped. Again, we're giving you 20% off and free shipping. AEPSHAVE at checkout for that. And thank you to Manscaped for signing us on for the month of April.
Don't shave your junk with something you shave your face with. It's
Yeah,
gross.
don't put your balls on your face. What are you doing? Come on. Hashtag Kyle's clean balls, apparently. I don't know. Everyone's talking about my balls. Why?
That's this. You know what? This is my. I'm ashamed of you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed. Anyways, guys, make sure you're following us on all social media. You're following us on Twitter at All Elite Pod, Instagram at All Elite Pod, and on Facebook we're at All Elite Podcast. We're available on all different audio platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Castbox, iHeartRadio. All you got to do is search up the No Holds Barred Network. You'll find the other great podcasts we provide here on the No Holds Barred Network, and you will find the All Elite Podcast. If you're one of our Apple Podcast listeners, thank you so much for listening, number one. Number two, give us a generous 5-star rating and leave us a comment what you guys think of the network and the All Elite Podcast itself. It helps us in the chartable side of things in the long run. And lastly, but certainly not least, thank you to Darren of This Wolf for letting us use the song Dead to Me. It is the official theme song of the No Holds Barred, of the All Elite Podcast. Thank you very much, Darren. He lets us use a bunch of other of his songs on the No Holds Barred Network. Darren, buddy, you mean the world to me and Tiff. Thank you very much for letting us do that. You're great, man. Thank you so much. So, yeah. Thank you, Bill. too,
Hey,
for
man.
coming
Thank
on the
you for that.
podcast today because Tiff had to be MIA today.
Thanks for letting me ramble so much.
Hey, this was a great podcast. People are going to enjoy it. We ran, an hour and 20 minutes? I'm happy with that. That is a perfect amount of time for a podcast. We had a lot to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you're tuning in live, thank you very much for tuning in live. Watching back on YouTube, downloading the episode on audio, thank you so much. Thank you again to my friends at the 5 Second Rule, my pal Anthony, for that Manscaped commercial earlier on. You guys will be hearing that for the next couple of weeks here in the month of April, and hopefully longer if we can get fully sponsored by Manscaped. If the month of April goes well, we will be sponsored by Manscaped for a whole year, guys, and getting more promo codes from them. So make sure you're using that promo code AEPSHAVE at checkout.
Listen, help your junk and help Kyle and Tiff.
Yes. Help that junk of yours. Your balls. Well, thank you. It's their slogan.
Your balls will thank you. Kyle will thank you.
Yeah.
Tiffany will thank you.
Exactly.
And you don't want heat with Tiff.
No, you don't. No, not a good thing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the All Elite Podcast, episode 130 here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host, as always. I'm your self-proclaimed greatest host, the guy with the hairy bush, I guess. My name is Kyle Masters. Actually, it's clean now with Manscaped. And I'm joined today by Bill Bodkins. Guys, I'll put all his links for you guys to follow down in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast. Please go support him and follow him on Twitter and check out his stuff. It's all awesome shit. It's good shit, pal. So check it out.
The best shit.
We'll be right back here again, live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, everywhere for the next episode of the All Elite Podcast. I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.